There are few mysteries left that grip the imagination the way the old explorers once did. Men who vanished into jungles chasing legends many believed were never real. But among them, one name stands out. A man whose disappearance would become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. His name was Colonel Percy Fawcett. Soldier, cartographer, adventurer, and the last true seeker of a place he believed lay hidden deep within the Amazon. A city of stone, gold, and ancient knowledge. He called it simply Zed. We know it as El Dorado. For some, it was madness. For others, a vision ahead of its time. And for many, Percy Fawcett would become a symbol of the eternal human hunger for the unknown, for the hidden. We're going to follow his footsteps from his childhood in England to the battlefields of empire, through the deadly labyrinth of the Amazon rainforest, and into the final expedition that swallowed him whole. This is the story of Percy Fawcett and the legend of the lost city of Zed. Percy Harrison Fawcett was born in 1867 in Torquay, England, during the final years of the Victorian age, when maps still had blank spaces and the world still held secrets. His father, Edward Fawcett, was a member of the Royal Geographical Society, a man of education, but also of vices. His mother, Moira, came from a background steeped in literature and mysticism. Young Percy grew up surrounded by stories of distant lands, ancient civilizations, and artifacts from empires long vanished. But his upbringing was not romantic. His father's heavy drinking and debts kept the family in turmoil. Percy grew up hardened, disciplined, and determined to carve out a future of his own making. That opportunity arrived when he joined the British Army. As a young artillery officer, Fawcett was posted to far-flung corners of the empire, Ceylon, North Africa, the Middle East. He learned to survive in heat, jungle, and desert. He mastered surveying, mapping, and reconnaissance, but most of all, he developed a taste for the unknown. And so, when the Royal Geographical Society began seeking men to help map the last uncharted regions of South America, Percy willingly stepped forward. To British officials, the Amazon rainforest was a distant, shadowed place, poorly mapped and poorly understood. But to explorers, it was one of the final frontiers, one of Earth's hidden secrets. Percy Fawcett arrived in South America in 1906 with a simple mission: map the border between Bolivia and Brazil, a difficult and dangerous task. The Amazon was a world of extremes: heat that suffocated, insects that carried fevers and death, rivers that forgave no one. But Percy thrived. He moved calmly through dangers that rattled hardened explorers. He was respectful of indigenous tribes and earned their trust, and he gained a reputation for a nearly supernatural resilience. Legend and reality began to blend around him. He was said to be immune to disease, fearless against the large Amazon felines, unbothered by starvation or exhaustion. Whether true or embellished, these stories followed him. Remind you of anyone? And during those early expeditions, Fawcett began hearing whispers, strange ruins deep in the jungle, fragments of pottery, stone walls choked by vines, signs of a civilization greater than anything known to exist in the Amazon. The seed was planted. In 1912, deep in the Mato Grosso region of Brazil, Fawcett stumbled upon something unusual. A weathered stone idol, unlike anything known from Amazonian cultures. It was crude yet deliberate, ancient yet unclassifiable, but it wasn't the stone figure alone that changed him. That same year, he obtained a document that would alter the course of his life, Manuscript 512. Written in the 18th century by Portuguese explorers, it described a lost city made of stone and gold, hidden in the Amazon interior. Massive archways, a great plaza, hieroglyphic inscriptions. To most historians, Manuscript 512 was a curiosity. To Fawcett, it was a map. He began calling it the Lost City of Zed, and from that moment on, his life would be consumed not by military duty or national service, but by the quest to prove that an advanced civilization had once thrived in the heart of the Amazon. In 1914, just as Fawcett planned his next expedition, the world changed. War erupted across Europe. Colonel Percy Fawcett returned home and joined the front lines in World War I. He fought in the mud-filled trenches of the Western Front, one of the history's darkest chapters. But even as artillery thundered around him, even as he saw the worst of humanity, the Amazon called to him. He scribbled notes about the lost city of Zed between battles. He imagined rivers, ruins, and endless green while surrounded by grey, blooded landscapes. When the war finally ended in 1918, Fawcett was a decorated veteran, but the world he returned to felt smaller and more cynical. And so he returned back to the jungle, this time not as a surveyor, but as a truth seeker and claimant of lost civilizations. Between 1920 and 1924, Fawcett launched a series of expeditions deeper into the Amazon than he had ever gone before. He was accompanied by a rotating cast of companions, some loyal, some temporary, some never seen again. His methods were different from other explorers of his era. He refused to use force against indigenous tribes. He travelled light and fast, and he listened to stories, legends, and warnings. Many tribes spoke of ancient ruins deeper within the forest. Some said the land was forbidden. Others told him the spirits of old cities still watched from the trees. Whether myth or memory, Percy Fawcett took their words seriously. Along the way, his expeditions faced dangers few could imagine. Deadly insects, poisonous plants, hostile tribes wary of outsiders, disease that killed in days, starvation, dehydration, and mutiny. Yet each time, Fawcett pressed on, and each time he became more certain that the lost city of Zed was real. In 1925, at the age of 57, Fawcett made the decision that would seal his fate. He would return to the Amazon one last time to find Zed. This expedition was different. He refused to bring a large team. He rejected the costly, overburdened expeditions funded by newspapers and journals. Instead, he chose a small, quiet group. Himself, his eldest son Jack, a young man with his father's determination and curiosity, and Jack's close friend, Raleigh Rimmel. 3 men, no soldiers, no porters, no entourage, just a few pack animals, a compass, a Bible, and the belief that they would succeed where countless others had failed. On April the 20th, 1925, they entered the Amazon rainforest, heading towards the region Fawcett called the Deadly Bend. Weeks passed, then months. The last known communication came from a camp near the Rio Kulukuru. Percy Fawcett's final message, sent to the outside world, read, "You need have no fear of failure." After that, silence. The three men vanished without a trace. News of Fawcett's disappearance spread across the world. Headlines spoke of the lost explorer, the mystery of the Amazon, and the quest for Zed. Over the next decade, more than 100 people attempted to retrace his route. Some sought fame, others genuinely hoped to find him alive. Many never returned. Rumours spread. Fawcett was murdered by tribes. Fawcett became a tribal leader. Fawcett discovered Zed and chose not to return. Every tribe questioned had a different story. Some said the party starved. Others claimed they were killed for trespassing sacred land. A few insisted the men lived for years deep in the forest, far from civilization. But no proof ever emerged. The jungle had swallowed the explorers, and their fate became legend. And you'd think that would be the end of the story, but that is not so. Far from it. For decades, scientists dismissed the idea of a sophisticated Amazonian civilization. The rainforest, they argued, was too hostile, the soil too poor, the tribes too small. But in recent years, discoveries have shifted the debate. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of large, complex societies, cities connected by roads, agriculture, and monumental architecture. These findings resemble, in many ways, the type of civilization Percy Fawcett believed in. Was he wrong, or simply ahead of his time? The question of Zed is no longer dismissed outright. It has become a symbol, a representation of everything we still don't know about the human past. And then, allegedly, an old camera was found. During a Fortis expedition, partly to find Fawcett and his group, they stumbled across an old camera and makeshift tripod. On returning home, they attempted to process the film, but nothing came of it, and the story went quiet. In a more modern day, a man and his colleagues were renovating an old English house. One of the rooms appeared to have a tired bookcase with old dusty books haphazardly stacked. It became apparent the previous occupant was a collector of adventure novels, until they looked closer. The books were not novels, they were journals, diaries of explorers. None stood out. Then they opened one simply titled Percy Harrison Fawcett. It was more of a photo album, not a written journal, and the photographs they saw shocked them. One shocked them to their core. It depicts what looks like an old tribesman, haggard, weary, and almost unhuman-like. Another, further on in the album, shows a tree, but not like any tree I've ever seen, even from the Amazon. Is it a tree? I'll let you decide that. More photos showed more trees and a strange-looking bird. What you've got to consider is that these photos are black and white. Try to imagine what this bird-like creature looked like in colour. Was it colourful, or was it eerie looking, like the photograph? Either way, it's definitely strange. Were these the photos taken by Percy, his son, and his son's friend? Was this the result of a camera find years previous? Was this an insight into their last days? One thing is for sure, These photos only enhance the rumours and myths around Percy Fawcett and his quest to find the lost city of Zed. To this day, the bodies of Percy, Jack and Raleigh have never been found. So, ignoring the photo album, if that's possible, what happened? Did they stumble across the lost city and live there, never to return? Or worse, forced not to return? Was the reason for their disappearance more bizarre, like supernatural or paranormal, or something even more unknown? Or did they simply die in a hostile, unforgiving rainforest, incapable of overcoming the elements of such a dangerous environment? And every story, every rumour, is just an exaggeration of the real truth? You be the judge. Thanks for watching again. You'll catch me nowhere near the Amazon, or any rainforest for that matter, gold or no gold. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so, and do me a favour and click that like button or hype button if you liked it that much. It helps the channel enormously. Still love your comments, so keep them coming. Most are amazing. Anyhow, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Take care.